I started getting that high. I started getting that kick from the day I worked on my first case.
So you've done a lot with women's rights and just like a lot of experience with just like legally informed women. So in your experience, how like what percentage you feel the women are in India are legally informed, and what are some ways that women can actively educate themselves when it comes to knowing their legal rights?
When I talk about implementation, you know there is a POXO, but do you know how to go and report a particular case? Do you know that there is a certain deadline?
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the NextGen Podcast. My name is Meghna, and I recently graduated from UCSD. Today's guest on the podcast is Aishwarya Sandeep, a lawyer, legal content creator, and founder of the Law School Uncensored, a platform dedicated to breaking down the realities of legal education and practice in India. With years of experience in the field, Aishwarya uses her voice to spotlight important conversations around access to legal knowledge, women's rights, and unspoken challenges within the legal profession. Her platform has become a go to for aspiring lawyers, professionals returning to the field, and just anyone curious about the legal landscape in India. You can follow her journey and insights on Instagram, which I've linked in the description box below. In this episode, we'll explore Aishwarya's legal journey, how Law School Uncensored came to life, the gaps she's observed in legal education, and her thoughts on empowering individuals to know their rights and make informed legal decisions. Thank you so much, Aishwarya, for being with us today on the Next Gen podcast.
Hi, thank you so much, Meghna. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
So just jumping like straight in, I'd love to hear more about your journey. Like what exactly first sparked your interest or inspired you to enter the legal field? And I guess how has that passion evolved over time?
Okay, so I completed my graduation in mass media. I did my bachelor's of mass media with specialization in journalism. So in the in our final semester, I think fifth or sixth semester, we had a subject called as press law and ethics. That
Mhm.
was my first brush with the Indian law, and I got curious about the subject. So I thought, why not study? And I just applied. It was just a fluke. I never intended to practice, or it was more just for the knowledge sake. I wanted a degree. I pursued law. I got admission into the law college that I wanted. Touchwood, I had good marks, and it was pretty easy that time. It was a cakewalk. And since then, I have been very passionate about the subject, interested. Uh, Rather, I felt that I was made for it. So that is how my journey with law began.
Okay, and you balance like so many roles. You're a lawyer, writer, mentor, advocate. What motivates you to continue showing up in these different ways? And I guess what inspired you to just give your 100% to all these roles?
It's not always 100%. It's just a presumption that we are doing everything 100%. Just like everybody, there are days when I'm not even able to give 5% or 10% of what I intend to do.
Mhm.
Initially, it was very challenging, very frustrating that I can't do this, I can't do that, and I used to focus on things that I missed out. But uh, slowly and gradually, as and how I started, focusing on what I could do, kept my goals, or kept my wish list very practical, very accessible. I started focusing on small steps. So instead of let's talk about content writing. So initially I was like that, no, I need to write 10 articles, 15 articles, the SEO says this, this law says that, all this, and I got confused. That just demotivated me, and there was a time when everything was full stop. But then gradually I started focusing on what I could do. So yes, can I write one article in a day? Yes, I can do it. Can I speak to, when you talk about mentoring is not a single session, it's a journey. Can I talk to one student a day? Yes, it is possible. So that is how slowly and gradually I started building that relationship. And there was a lot of time allotment that, okay, in a day, X number of hours I have to give. If not this, then this. If not this, then this. So I started finding satisfaction in what I could do. And So slowly I could just pile up things and, do a lot of things together.
So, initially you mentioned that law wasn't really what you were expecting to pursue. So, was there a specific moment in your legal journey that realized when you realized that this is kind of the career for you, or that your mission was bigger than just practicing law?
Um, see, my whole intention about doing law was, as I said, I did my graduation in journalism and we had to
Mhm.
select a specialization or a beat. I wanted to do court reporting. So my initial inspiration to do journalism was because I wanted to be a war journalist. But then I knew I couldn't handle those things and all.
Mhm.
So I thought, the second best that I could come down to defense journalism or probably war journalism was to do legal reporting. That was my whole idea to pursue law. And I started interning right from my first semester itself. So as I said, it was like, the destiny that called me. The first assignment for which I was selected was basically for upgrading a book on CRPC. So I started doing my legal research. I was talking, I was reading about, case laws, etc. And then came in the first case in which actually my senior wanted another intern to assist her who had done her project on that subject. And by mistake, she dialed my intercom number. So I just went in, attended the meeting, and that is where I realized that it's not just legal writing, it's much more than practice, and the scope of legal practice is way beyond. The whole that thrill that you feel, as
Mhm.
lawyers, we work on some days, and I'm not exaggerating. There are days when we work 24/7. That is, even in our sleep, sometimes, in back of our mind, we are thinking about something. That is also possible. But then I started getting that high. I started getting that kick from the day I worked on my first case. That is where I realized that, practice is not what we have been told in the law school. It
Mhm.
goes much beyond that. The role that you play in people's life is immense. Even though, externally they consider you as someone who's a last option. Nobody goes to a lawyer or a doctor until and unless it's very urgent.
Mhm.
So, or it's at the last minute. But the happiness, the satisfaction that you see when you deal with your clients or when you see a result, an outcome, just getting the satisfaction of having an interim order. For us, it's just a work, but for someone else, that may be a life changing decision.
Mhm.
That happiness and that satisfaction you don't get elsewhere. Like today, I don't practice much, I don't go to courts much, I do documentations, but still, I do kind of miss that. That's something.
Yeah, you mentioned like that nobody really goes to the lawyers and doctors until like the last minute. I can actually relate to that because I'm pursuing a career in the medical field, so I can kind of relate to
Oh,
that. And I've seen like people like they come literally in the last minute, so totally can relate.
yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
So you've done a lot with women's rights and just like a lot of experience with just like legally informed women. So in your experience, how like what percentage you feel the women are in India are legally informed, and what are some ways that women can actively educate themselves when it comes to knowing their legal rights?
When I talk about legal awareness,
Mm-hmm.
knowing about your rights is one thing, implementing those rights is another thing. So there is a huge gap there. If you talk about awareness, I can tell you around 60 to 80% in India easily
Wow.
must be aware because we have uh, public service advertisements, whether it is before your movies are played, whether it's on television, your serials, your web series, everything talks about, women's right, women's awareness, common problems like dowry. We have quite awareness about POXO, which is sexual harassment at workplace, which are very women centric and women specific laws. But when I talk about implementation, there is a POXO, but do you know how to go and report a particular case? Do you know that there is a certain deadline? How many women know that, okay, if your office has less than 10 employees, then you have to go to the district, uh, not POXO, PROSH. So POXO is for child sex abuse. So yes, even child sex abuse, when we talk more about little girls than little boys. So
Mm-hmm.
how many of them know that, if not A, then B is the place where I can go to seek justice, or B is the place where I can go and, you know, this is the alternative procedure that I can opt for. That implementation, that courage is very less in India, whether it is men, whether it is women. We are still very much prejudiced. There
Mm-hmm.
is still a huge communication gap. That is what I really want to highlight, because the laws were made at a certain point of time with specific intention. Now, today, times have changed. We need to adapt ourselves to the new, society, the way the society functions. But we have not made those changes. We made changes in the law. How
Mm-hmm.
are you going to change the implementation? When I say changing the implementation, means also changing the mindset of the law enforcement. The law enforcement is police, the law enforcement is us lawyers, the law enforcement is judges. Changing the mindset takes a huge amount of time. So that is
True.
something that we really need to work on. Otherwise, laws are changing, they are developing, but how many people are actually aware and how many people are able to benefit out of it is still a question.
Mm. So do you have any resources that people can go to check up on how do I, like, say you're going through abuse, like domestic abuse, is there any like resources that you suggest someone look at or go through to know like how to report it?
If you have any case of, let's say, domestic abuse in India, I'm talking about the residents in India, what you can do is just simply log on to Google, check
Mm-hmm.
with your local police station, just Google your local police station name, go online and file a zero FIR. So, a zero FIR is a concept wherein you can file a first investigation report or a basic complaint. Second, if you are a woman, you can always walk into any police station and ask for a lady police to take your complaint. See, what
Mm.
happens is, in the most genuine cases of domestic abuse, it takes us a lot of time to convince the victim to head to the police station, because
True.
even today, there is, I'm sure as a medical professional you can understand this much better, there is a lot of trauma that is associated.
Mm-hmm.
And to break through that trauma, and we are still in a very society oriented city or a country, because our first thoughts are like, log kya kahenge, or what will people say if I go ahead, if people
True.
see me going to the police station 4 times, 5 times. We really need to break that mindset. So most of the times, I'll tell you, Meghna, what happens. We have cases where police, reports are filed, but then they are not investigated, because people don't go to the police station, because for an investigation to happen, you will have to go multiple times, and there is still so much of stigma that is attached with respect to abuse. As it is, the abuser has made her feel guilty, that you were wrong, and that's why you have, irrespective, okay, any gender, whether it is male or female, the whole mindset of the abuser is they will make you feel that it is your fault, it is not
Mm-hmm.
their fault, that something wrong has happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
That is one mindset. To add it, there is again the societal pressure, because we still grow up in a family, we still need that, no matter how much we say that we are independent, we are working, we are earning, but at the end of the day, we are able to do it because we have our family support, because we
Mm-hmm.
have a huge support system. Your support system, where you expect help, they are pointing fingers to you. The enforcement is first going to question you most of the times.
Mm-hmm.
because they are not sensitized. Okay, the local culture plays a huge role over, and you have to go through all this, and there is no mental health support. Like police,
Mm-hmm.
they will give you. I'm not blaming them, but they are also overburdened. Okay, they are not going to counsel you, but we still don't have a system where we have counselors at the law enforcement, especially when you're reporting cases of abuse. Under
Mm-hmm.
POXO, there is a social worker, but when we talk about proper counselors, they can see healing a trauma. Of course, it takes time, but at least they will give you the courage to face the abuser, and you can come and report the case. Okay, at least that much of mental support is what our victims need, and we are in desperate need of a lot of counselors today. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I can tell this to you so, with so much of confidence is because I used to work, when I started my own practice, I used to work as a government lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
as a legal aid associate, and I started with the family court. Okay, that was the first court that was assigned to me. The amount of trauma that women have with them, and it is very clearly visible.
Mm-hmm.
They are just there because their fathers have brought them, they are just there because their family members have brought them. Some of them just want to move out, they don't want anything, they just want to move out. And when I talk about legal aid centers, those are all pro bono cases. And women who opt for pro bono cases, they are literally people who are below poverty line, or they come from the
Mm-hmm.
lower hierarchy, lower financial hierarchy. But the amount of courage some women have shown, the way they have grown, they are still in touch with me, and amazing the way they built a new life around
Mm-hmm.
themselves. That is also a fact. So, to heal. So, in India, what happens when you deal with domestic abuse? It's only when you go for a divorce, just for the namesake, you have an option to go to the marriage counselor. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, there is no concept of marriage counselors. People are not even aware that, you have an option. If your marriage is going downwards, you can go and meet somebody called as marriage counselors. It is something that's only for the privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even for what I've heard from counselors is that only women turn up for counselors. Men don't even turn up for counseling
Mm-hmm.
session. So it's like, what is the need? Why do you have to wash a dirty linen in public, sort of? So the awareness, the mental health support that we need is something that we still lack as a society.
That's amazing. And that's actually like so true too. Like when you think of it, that women, when they're getting like when they're going, or like in general, just people that are going through that domestic abuse, just never actually speak about their experience. They're always just scared or hope
Yeah.
in that hope that something at some point of time will change.
Yeah, but those women were the ones who decided that they're going to swim against the tide and change things for themselves, whether it was for a child, whether it was just for themselves, whether it was for parents. But the courage that they had was
For
amazing.
sure. Of course. So, with your experience in gender justice, do you feel like there's one aspect of gender-based legal issues that is often overlooked or like misunderstood?
The whole aspect of when I talk about gender justice, the
Mm-hmm.
whole, the whole, what do you say, mindset or prejudice is that when you talk about gender justice, it's all about protecting women. It's all about laws in favor of women. So the moment I commit, like if you have seen recently, India has also reported a lot of cases where men have ended up committing suicide because of domestic violence issues. So that is something that's been highlighted. I am not ignoring it. I am not denying that this doesn't happen. It does happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it also happens because our society is not able to handle that. Like, to be very honest, our men are not that independent. Whether it is even our women for that matter, we just we have a very wrong notion of independence.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're earning, just because you have your own job, you go to a mall, pick up your favorite outfit, doesn't make you complete independent. When you talk about being complete independent, it means you don't, you're really not affected by what the society thinks. You're really not affected by, if I do this action, 10 people are going to question my parents, 10 people are going to question my children. Like if I need to do something, subconsciously, my thought, even for me, telling you, even for me, my subconsciously, my thought is that if I do a certain action, will it affect the image of my husband? Will it affect the image of my kids? Will it affect the image of my in laws? So, similarly, I'm sure that is the whole mindset that we are brought up with. I'm not saying it's bad, it's a conditional upbringing. It is good, but when there is too much of conditional upbringing, people are also pushed to certain extremes. So, what is happening in modern day marriages in India is that women are independent, they are financially aware, as I said, about what all laws are there, this is there, that is there, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in a marriage, you know, the equation is changing today. So, women are able to take care of themselves. You are doing your grocery bills, you are doing your uh, everything you're doing. So why should I be dependent on another individual?
Mm-hmm.
The man is like, okay, you're independent, I support you, you're doing this good, but then the society starts torturing him, and this is something that we are clearly ignoring. That just because a man is self-sufficient, he's supporting his wife, he's supporting uh, whatever, it's okay at their house, the equation is different. How does it matter to the society? We are
Mm-hmm.
still not prepared to handle that change psychologically, mentally. So, we have been educating women, we have been telling them, you have to be independent because if there is abuse, next day you have to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
This whole definition of abuse is also changing. Sometimes abuse is an ego clash. That, I am a CEO, why should I do this thing? Like, for example, I'm sure in the US, it's like pretty normal for you to do your household chores. It doesn't matter, your gender doesn't matter. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
just
For
does.
sure.
Okay, there is cleaning to be done, there's cooking to be done. Husband, wife, whoever is available, they will do it. Same thing when you talk about changing the diapers of the baby. But in India, it is still a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw this interview of this guy. I don't remember his name. It was with Raj Shamini. So he's the founder of this website IIT IIM Shadi, which is
Mm-hmm.
like uh, basically a matrimonial site for those who come, who are ex IIT IIM. So they do a lot of research, and from his database, he told me one thing, that a guy who is earning very high, okay, he will want a wife who is equally earning
Mm-hmm.
up to whatever X amount he's earning. Everything will be there. There'll be maid, because if you have to work 18 hours a day, you need maid. Everything, all the support system will be there. The guy may come home 5 minutes early. All he has to do is, not even not even open your phone. You just tell Alexa. Alexa knows what is the list of grocery that is required in your house. But that man won't do it, because
Mm-hmm.
even despite being so qualified, so exposed, there is still a mindset that it's a woman's job. So when you talk about gender justice, or when you talk about gender inclusion, gender equality, the mindset shift has to be done at a faster pace now. That is one of the reasons why families are breaking. Another simple example I'll give you. You check, you just check with any men, in India, and ask them, do you have your child's, in India, it's a very popular app called as MICM, which is generally your school updates. How
Mm-hmm.
many men have it on their phone? Or a simple thing, your WhatsApp groups are there, your child's
Mhm.
WhatsApp group. How many of them are a part of their child's class WhatsApp group? Why is it always mothers? Even the men can do it. No, they can.
Mhm.
It's just a WhatsApp message. You're already a part of thousands of groups. What harm does one small app or a small group do? You just have to give the message.
Mhm.
So the whole mindset that gender justice and all, it's not a big deal. It's just these small changes that we really need to do in our lives, which will bring gender equality. So right
Mhm.
now the problem with India is women are overburdened. We are expected to be 200% and men are still at 100%. And we
Mhm.
are told that if you're not 200%, you're not going to survive. So it's not about an option. Earlier it was an option that you can be that 200% women. Today it's become survival, which is very bad for the society.
I feel like I feel like in anywhere around the world, they have to manage house, work, children. You're just balancing everything that at some point in time it does get a lot to manage.
And it's the same worldwide. It's just that in
Mhm.
India we have more of a family setting, and because the West feels it's more important to report about India or probably any Asian countries. But from what I have heard from my friends or from my seniors, it's the same all over the world. More or less.
Mhm. So now going more into like the legal career side of things, what advice would you give to someone looking to maybe reset their legal career in today's post-COVID legal environment?
Okay, I think COVID is the best thing that happened to us lawyers. Not in
Uh-huh.
a bad way, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Because just 1 year before COVID, I had my second daughter. I was on my maternity break. It's just for a few years I had worked after my son. Again, I took a break for my daughter's birth. Then COVID happened. And since my son was born, I was working from home because it was very convenient and it's quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the best part about COVID is because of COVID, I could take part in a couple of fellowships. I had got a few opportunities. So I have literally attended sessions with my younger one in my on sitting on my lap and my elder one sitting around near me because he was 5 and she was, around 1 year by the time COVID happened. So today everything is digital, and most importantly, people value what is digital. Because 10 years ago, when I had started working from home independently, people were like, "Where is your office?" And in the background, if there's some noise, they were like, "Will you be able to do the work? Will you be able to commit? Will you be able to deliver?" So now all those distractions seem normal. People are more focused on whether they are getting their work done.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is due to COVID, the digital space increased. Um, so even something like you know something like IP laws. Okay, we have a lot of websites that have come in. A lot of content is going online. So we need laws to protect them. We
Mm-hmm.
need a lot of uh, laws to protect the content to be saved. For example, we have servers where all your data is saved. Okay, so India, like your Facebook Meta has got servers outside India.
Mm-hmm.
What are the laws that you're going to enter into when you are, uh, when you are doing a business with Facebook? What are the terms and conditions? So, drafting of legal agreements for all these purposes. Again, drafting your privacy policy, terms and conditions. All these are new scope of work that has come. Second thing, I think now law students have forgotten that there are books that you are meant to read because
Mm-hmm.
everything has gone digital. Everything is more simplified. Everyone is running around to simplify the concept for law students or common man. You know, the relationship that we have with the client has changed in the last few years. especially post COVID. Post COVID, lawyers were very unaccessible. Now, today, because of the digital world, you are forced to become accessible, you are forced to become visible. Like earlier, you would just hear a particular lawyer's name. You didn't know how that lawyer looked, you didn't know where his office is, etc. Today, you know everything about him, you know the entire history. So the whole mindset has changed. The whole way you conduct your work has changed. So if you are a career restarter, especially in the legal field, start with building your portfolio. LinkedIn has been an amazing platform. LinkedIn has helped me a lot. A lot of, as I said, fellowships or work that I have got is only because of LinkedIn, and not just having a profile. Okay, I started writing my content on LinkedIn. I wrote about what I felt. Okay, today in IP law, this thing happened. Write about your field. And the best thing is you can do online teaching also,
Mm-hmm.
because teaching is the best way to revise, because we are career restarters, and because most of the times women rejoin after having kids. And after having children, one thing that happens is our confidence level goes low. It is pretty normal, it is hormonal, or it is because we are multitasking, our priorities are changed, and these things are very normal. Start with something small, like teaching online, teaching in your nearby local college, classes, etc., just to revise. I started teaching only so that I would be forced to open my books, read the law, instead of, cribbing that why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me? That is how I slowly started creating content. I said, okay, I'll make one video per day. So it will help me, okay, I didn't understand this topic. I need to read more. I need to read more. And once I got involved in that, then there was like no looking back. So try to do small things, set smaller goals. The easiest is submit research papers. They are, you just search them online, you will get a lot of opportunities. That is one of the best ways to get visibility. Start your own YouTube channel so that people can see. See, in the field of law, the way you appear, the way you explain a concept, the way you put forth a concept, it matters a lot. So, building your own portfolio, whether on LinkedIn, whether on YouTube, whether with your own website, is very important. Not only for women who are restarting, also for students who are just going to graduate. So, this is something that had helped me a lot.
Okay. You've mentioned that you've like mentored and you've taught a lot of students. So what do you feel are like some recurring struggles or blind spots that you see in law students today?
One blind spot I see, not exactly blind spot, it is more of, let me talk in your terms, situationship. So there is this one trend that is going on in India. It is not their fault. It is their college's fault. Okay, I'm being very blunt about it. So in India, we have national law schools, which is like the, let's say, IITs of law school. Those who don't know what a national law school is. It's very difficult to get in, and just as in the engineering field, you prefer kids who are from IITs. A lot of big tier one law firms, they prefer students from NLUs, and that fight is still on. I am not from a national law school. I have met national law school students. I have, uh, you go to competitions,
Mm-hmm.
you meet them at work. It's not something extraordinary that they do. They just do ordinary things, same thing in a very different way. So instead of getting overwhelmed, or instead of diverting your thoughts, saying that why is why are they preferring national law schools, or why tier one law firms are not taking kids from so and so. Try to make the best of what is available around you. Okay, don't be lost on what someone says on LinkedIn. Just because somebody put in a very fancy LinkedIn post doesn't mean that uh, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has got their own set of struggles. It's just that we know how to, some of us know how to put our best foot forward, some of us know how to, cover it well. 90% of the success stories or all these wow stories that you read on social media are fake. Trust me, I've been a creator. I have uh, been an IP lawyer. So I deal with all these media guys every now and then. So I know, when things are fake, when things are genuine. The people who are doing genuinely good job, genuinely effective jobs are not on LinkedIn. They are in your courtrooms. So grab every opportunity that you get and visit your local courtrooms. Talk to people. Okay, the social media is there. It's just a support system. Don't let it influence you or don't let it cause prejudice in your mind. So our law schools, as I was saying about national law schools, so national law schools has a trimester system, and after every trimester, every semester, you are supposed to do an internship. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
those kids are already, they are the cream.
Mm.
Second thing, they are trained in that way. So for them, a 3 week internship is just touch base. So it really doesn't matter what they do in those 3 weeks, but they gain the most maximum knowledge. Now, what other law schools, especially the privately funded ones, they have done is they have said that in 12 months, we want students to do 12 internships. So
Mm.
I'm not joking. This is a fact. There is a law school which has asked its students to do 12 internships in 12 months.
Wow.
How, even I don't know. And they did it during COVID. They were like, "Ki, it's online internship, so you can manage." Okay, so that is what was their logic. I don't understand this. If you want to learn something, you in a legal field, it will take you around 3 to 6 months easily.
Mm-hmm.
So students today have a lot of internship experience. They are more into this fascination that the more experience I have, the more better prospect of a good job I'll have.
Mm-hmm.
But what they fail to understand is instead of trying to get 10 internship certificate, get two, but
Mm.
work for a longer duration, work for 6 months, work for 8 months, work for 1 year, and then you switch. So what is happening is they are working in different different specialities every 2 months, and then they get confused. So that is one of the reasons why students get so overwhelmed by the time they graduate, and that they don't know where should I go, which field should I go. So don't run around like a headless chicken. Take your time, work in a particular field. If you're doing family law, do it for 6 months, do it for 8 months, and then see whether you like it or not. Like even family law, I hated it,
Mm-hmm.
but I still gave around 1 year's time to understand, can I do it? Even though I hated every moment I did all these cases because it's very traumatizing, to be very
Mm-hmm.
honest.
True.
We also carry this baggage back home, and it was becoming too much. So, but I still gave it 1 year, and I understood how people work, how the
Mm.
mindset of people changes at every stage. Professionally, it didn't help me much, but personally, it helped me understand different types of people. So
Of
give it
course.
some time, don't rush.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's very similar in the medical field because we're required
Yeah.
for grad schools to like shadow and work for many different like professions, but it's like a 2 week, 3 week thing that you really don't understand that field that deeply. So I totally totally relate to it. You founded Law School Uncensored, but what was your original vision behind it? And I guess how has it grown or evolved since its inception?
So law school uncensored is something that I wanted to build since long. It had different names. We just settled down on law school uncensored during COVID. The
Okay.
whole idea behind law school uncensored was to talk about the things that are not taught in law school. For example, we have spoken to mental health specialists with respect to the challenges that students face when they
Mm.
move to hostels, something as simple as not getting your ghar ka khana or your home cooked food. It can be so difficult for a student to settle down in the initial 2 to 6 months, just because of something as basic as not getting your favorite, your basic, your dal chawal or something like that. We have spoken about bullying, we have spoken about body shaming, we have spoken about how it is perfectly normal to be
Mm.
as you are. To be like, it's okay if you don't have 10 friends, it's okay if you're not popular. So, the whole idea behind Law School Uncensored is we are going to talk about those issues which law students face. They can't talk about it to their friends. They can't share it with their seniors. They can't share it with their parents. They can't share it with their teachers because everyone has different set of expectations.
Mhm.
Law students are somewhere from 18 to 23, 24, and that is a time when in our society you're suddenly expected to grow up and take responsibilities.
True.
Like an engineering student, he graduates at 21, he gets a good job within a year and he's settled. And at 23 you're still doing your undergraduation if you do your LLB after your graduation. The whole challenge to my friends are working, my friend has already gone abroad for a project. I'm sure you will relate to it as a medical student.
For sure.
My school friend is getting married, my school friend has already got a kid. Now what am I going to do? I'm still studying. When will I settle down? This anxiety has taken away a lot of professionals from our field, because then
Mm.
ultimately they look out for the shortcuts. We have
Mhm.
the best minds that we have lost to LPOs, who can do really well in courts. See, everybody has got a different story. I'm not judging anyone, and everyone needs to take a path which suits them. I could take this path because I had that luxury, I had that privilege, I had that family support. But if I was someone who, uh, you know, couldn't afford to start up something on her own, I would have also ended up in a 9 to 5 job. So I'm not judging anyone for picking up a 9 to 5 job, but it's because of a lot of them, because of this constant comparison, this constant pressure of how am I going to deal? What am I going to do?
Mhm.
There are thousands of field. I can't move to the city. The city has got better opportunities. So what is the alternative? To talk about all these options, to explore about all these options, we decided to start Law School Uncensored. So sometimes students are even scared. Okay, I'll go to a court, but I don't know how to ask a person that, what serial number this is, how to ask basic procedures. Because as I said, in law schools, they just tell you that, okay, this is the law, this is the theory part, but they don't prepare you for that transition. That
Mm.
application of a concept is entirely different. So my vision was to build that transition. For me, that transition was done by my seniors. I was working, as I said, right from my first year. So my schedule then was I used to go to my law school 7 a.m. to 10:30. We used to bunk lectures, okay? Because we also wanted to participate in competitions.
Mhm.
After whatever lectures, we used to sit, chat in our canteen, and even our principal knew what we were doing. As long as we are getting the results, nobody bothered.
Mhm.
So I had that kind of a luxury. After that, at 11, I used to go to my office till 7, 7:30, 8, whatever time it was, come back home, do your reading, prepare for next day, everything. So that was my routine for 3 years.
Mhm.
It was a hustle, but simultaneously, my friends had already got job. They were already, at a different pace, and I was at the bottom. I was just an intern then. But in law field, even being an intern in the first year was like a really big deal.
Mhm.
So this transition, this hustle made my transition very smooth. But that is not the privilege that everybody has. That is not everybody got that opportunity. So how can we build that opportunity? By changing the mindset. As I said, changing mindset is also very important. And sometimes some kids are very rigid, not their fault, it is the society in which they are, that they are quite rigid. So to help students smoothen the transition is what was my whole purpose behind law school nonsense.
That's a great mission because, as you mentioned, this constant comparison, I go through that on a daily basis, so I totally understand. And if there was like something like this for like somebody in the medical field, that is like something that I would definitely utilize. So I feel like that is a great foundation and mission that you have with that.
You can
So
surely start in your own. There is no, it's
that's what
never
I
too
kind of like
late.
started with this is just to kind of like when I was graduating high school, I didn't know which career path to choose and I didn't have the resources to go and nor the time actually to go and like try all the fields. So that's the reason why I actually started this podcast in the first place was to kind of get like other people inspired in the next generation to be like, hey, I actually like this field. I'm gonna like try this out or something like that.
That's
Um,
a great way to do it.
so kind of just like wrapping it up like slowly, if you had the power to change one law in India, what would it be and why? I know we kind of like touched on like domestic abuse and just the availability of legal education, but
I think one law that I presently feel that we desperately need is um Meghna, increasing the number of counselors that are
Hmm,
available.
true.
Counseling is what we desperately need in India, especially in the education system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as I said, in certain ways, I've been very privileged. So, whenever I have difficulties with my kids, whether it's their studies or other ways, I have the privilege to approach my kids' school counselors. But that is not the case for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Having counselors at school level, having counselors at workplace, having counselors at law enforcement helps a lot.
Hmm.
People are in too much of hurry today and going nowhere. There's too much of hustle, too much of I don't know what is going on, but we need to stop. We need to take a moment. We need to think. We need to take mental health more seriously. And we need more better, stronger focus on mental health awareness and mental health laws. So that is one change I would really like to see as soon as possible. It's not a 5-year vision, but we need more trained professionals in this field, not content creators. We need proper trained professionals who have been in this field, who are trained clinical, psychologists
Mm-hmm.
who know how to deal. Because I just read here some hours ago about a 12-year-old sending a bomb threat because he wanted holiday in the school, and that kid was he came from a very affluent family, and it was sent to a very big institute, I think in Delhi or something.
Okay.
So the child was counseled and then sent back home. But it is not a one-time incident. Children don't do it immediately. They do
Mm-hmm.
it because they have been completely neglected, ignored, and it's been happening since long time. No one takes an impulsive action until and unless it's a case of a proper a psychopath or someone who has a genuine medical problem. But there are some issues that have been building up, so we need proper organizations which will help in handling such cases and avoid such cases.
Yeah, I feel like post the rise of mental health, I feel like, or social media, I feel like mental health is just exponentially decreased too. So, the last question that I had was, what is one piece of advice you'd give to like your younger self or to like any young woman, men today who's just beginning their legal journey?
If I had to give an advice to my younger self, it would be um, just be patient. Everything will fall in place.
Mm-hmm.
Even though right now I have got millions of things, like literally millions of things that is running in my mind. Okay, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, this did not happen, that did not happen. But somewhere I'm also simultaneously trying to calm myself down that, okay, this is the pace. So try and embrace that pace in life. That is one thing I want to tell myself, because today I feel that, somewhere I missed certain things because I was always hustling, or rather I was just worried, not hustling. Hustle is a good thing. That is what I want to say. Second thing, enjoy every moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whether you are working as an intern, whether you are uh, just doing your job hunt, try and talk to five people. That's my uh, latest exercise that I've been doing. Talk to 5 to 7 people in a day. So that was the whole reason why I started this mentoring session, and also I could meet new people, I could talk to them. Make it a habit to have a new conversation with 10 new people daily.
Mm-hmm.
That itself will change your mindset. It will make you more stronger mentally. It will help you connect more with the society. And
True.
that is very important when you are a lawyer, to be
Mm-hmm.
connected to your roots, to be connected to the society.
That is so true. Um, that's it of questions that I had. Aishwarya, thank you so much for being with us here on the Next Gen podcast.